Joe, are we on?
Okay.
Okay. Joe Graziano just gave us the thumbs up sign. We are live from Erie, Pennsylvania. We here in the land of the frozen chosen, it was 22 degrees out on the car thermometer, and coming home from Cleveland was a real challenge. Cars spun out on the side of the road, not because it was snowing so much, but because there was no salt on the roads in Pennsylvania. Ohio was okay. Pennsylvania was not. So, it's been an eventful week, a lot to think about. One of the things that I've learned over my 74 years on this planet is that you bend with the wind, you roll. And one of the greatest analogies of life I ever had was from my high school history teacher, who was a whitewater kayaker. And he absolutely loved it. Stan Lasky, he's still with us too. So Stan was saying, when times get rough, keep in mind this was 1968. Times were pretty rough. And he said, when you're going down the river and you're trying to shoot those rapids, you can't pay attention to everything, but you pay attention to the most immediate things of concern. That boulder that's staring you in the face, steady bearing, decreasing range, coming at you. Once you navigate those rapids, then you get to still water and you recoup your soul and your strength. And then you will follow the next rapids. Shabbat is that. It is that pool of rest that we have between the whitewater sections. So with that, I want everybody to take a deep breath and blow it out. For those of you joining us tonight on YouTube, I've got some relatives in Florida, and
I also have relatives in Florida.
and despite you living in Florida, we love you anyway. Especially here in the land of the frozen chosen. Okay, so tonight I would like to invite Bright to light the Shabbat candles after we have an opening song. And that will be, if I can find it here.
11.
It goes to 11. That's what they said in This Is Spinal Tap. Okay, it goes to
It's
11.
a Ki Shmera Shabbat.
Okay.
Just making sure everyone had their books open. Ki Shmera Shabbat, El Yishmereni. Ki Shmera Shabbat, El Yishmereni. Oti le'omeyad meino veini. Oti le'omeyad meino veini.
I begin with a prayer of gratitude, page 8. For all that is holy in my life, God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services. But I need them. We need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better, to love God, to love the world God created, and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy. Would you like Shabbat candles, please, both of you?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
They call her Allie the Torch.
For my fire personality.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. will continue on page 12.
Okay. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena le'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena le'Adonai. Naria, naria lisor yishenu, nikad mafana b'todah. Naria, naria, litzor yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena le'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena le'Adonai.
The first section of liturgy is always, the welcome of it. I always think of a service, whether it is day, night, is going up the top of a hill and then coming down to the other side. So we are kind of introducing ourselves. We're welcoming Shabbat. I'd like to continue on page 18. Mizmor LeDavid, Havu l'Adonai pnei elim, Havu l'Adonai kavod v'hoz, Havu l'Adonai kavod shemo, Hishtakavu l'Adonai bet hadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai ha'amayim, El kavod hirim, Adonai al-mayim rabim, Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai bechadar, Kol Adonai shovel arazim, Yeshover Adonai ad alzel halvenod, V'hidem kemo egel, Lebanon v'sirion, Kemo ben reimim. Kol Adonai hotzef lachodesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai ed halel avinon, Dekefesh yo. Sorry. Yekasufe arok vechalu kulo omer kavod, Adonai yamchu yashav vayashev Adonai melech olam, Adonai oz la'amo yitain Adonai yavarek et amo v'shalom. We'll continue with Lecha Dodi. We will do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Okay. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmiyanu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor haveracha. Merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh v'machshava tehila. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 pnei Shabbat nekabel.
Kiva ore kumi uri, uri uri, shir daberi, kivod Adonai alayim milah.
Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 pnei Shabbat nekavela boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha u'besola tov emunei am segula boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 pnei Shabbat nekavela.
Please be seated. Nala Shevet, as opposed to Manischewitz, which is something different. Can't hear? Louder? Joe, could you turn me up a little bit, please? Thank you so much. Okay. We'll continue with Kabbalat Shabbat on page 22, Mizmor Shir.
Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Lehagid baboker chastecha, ve'emunatecha baleilot, alei asor ve'alei navel, alei higayon bechinor. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon.
We have that joy. We have that ruach. And now, use a little bit of imagery here. Shabbat is falling, as the Orthodox would say. What do they mean, falling? Oi, it's falling from the sky. No, it isn't. Darkness is falling slowly. And if you've ever been in Jerusalem, when Shabbat is falling, it's a very special experience. You just hear the hustle and bustle and the noise of the city just evaporate.
We're on page 24 for Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Boechem l'shalom,
Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Seitem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Malachei Elyon. Bimelech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We continue with the Hatzi Kaddish on page 26. Whenever you go to an Orthodox service, you will hear the Hatzi Kaddish in there. Why do you have it? It's because it's a bookmarker. Think of it as not necessarily an end of one part. Think of it as a joining piece between the two. Please rise for the Hatzi Kaddish, page 26.
Yikadav yikadav shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach yerotiva mamlik mahutei mechayechad uvyomechad uvhayedecho beit Yisrael bagala bagala uvishman chariv v'yimaru amen Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam olam me'almaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yidroma v'yinaseh v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithala shemei dekudusha rihu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata namiran be'alma v'yimaru amen.
Please remain standing for the Baruch Hu.
Next page. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. We continue on page 30. Baruch Atah Adonai 30. Please be seated. I'm sorry.
Stand for
In Hebrew, Baruch Atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv arivim, bechokma poteach sha'arim, ubitbuna mishanei itim
Ma'achalif et Chazmanim, U'mesader et HaKochavim, B'mishmerotekem Barkia Kirtzono, Borei Yom V'Layla,
golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom u'mevei laila, uma'avdil bein yom u'bein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El Chai v'kayam tamid yimlok le'elenu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim.
Together in the middle of page 31. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn?
Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim.
How wonderfully fitting when you think about creation rolling darkness away from light and light away from darkness, and then we go this. Very individual. Are we going to stand there, or are we going to cross over? Page 32.
Oh, he's got it. Oh, okay, sorry.
This is a Sephardic melody that I learned many years ago that whenever I'm on the beam, I tend to use it, number one, because I like it, number two, so I won't forget it. Avad olam beit Yisrael, Amcha havata, Torah u'mitzvot, hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu lemadita, Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shachvenu u'v'kumenu, nasiach bechukecha, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ומצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ויורך ימינו, ובכן נהגי יומם ולילה. והבטחה אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. Baruch atah Adonai, Hashem Amo Yisrael. Together at the top of page 33. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Please rise for the Shema on page 34.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vayed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vayed.
Shema
Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. We'll continue with the Shema in Hebrew on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושנתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך וקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם ואלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 38. Emet ve'umana kol zot v'kayam aleinu ki hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'en zulato ve'nachnu Yisrael amo. Hapodenu miad malachim malkeinu hago aleinu mekaf kol ha'aratzim ha'ose gedolot ankein heker. We need to think about the shores of the Red Sea, or wherever it was, and think about what was happening. Pharaoh's chariots were descending. Bad day for tribe. Okay? Bad things were about to happen, but they didn't. So remember, we as a people, we have been through worse. This is how we face the situation today. Together at the top of page 39 together.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. We're on page 40 for Micha Mocha. Micha Mocha Ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nedar B'Kodesh, Micha Mocha Ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nedar B'Kodesh, Nora Tehilot Osei Melech, Nora Tehilot Osei Melech, Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed.
Page 42. We've crossed. We've made it. We want to give thanks. Page 42. We want peace, not just today, but at all times. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomrenu l'chaim u'faros aleinu sukat shlemeka v'takpenu be'etzah tova milfaneka v'hoshienu l'ma'an shemecha. Top of page 43.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will.
Baruch atah
Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Baruch atah, atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim, ve'al kol amo, ve'al Yerushalayim, shalom, ve'al Yerushalayim, ve'al kol amo, ve'al Yerushalayim, shalom. Baruch atah, atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
At this point in the liturgy, on Friday nights, it's usually customary for us to do Vishamru, but its analog in morning and afternoon liturgy is Yismachu. And in the Reformed Prayer Book, we are actually offered that choice. And given that I had no choice,
We're trying something out.
we're trying something new, and as they say in Monty Python, now for something completely different.
We are doubling down.
We didn't give Dennis a choice. We told him that.
Well, it's okay. I was a very willing co-conspirator. in this.
Okay.
Now, what you're going to hear is something that's more Chabadnik, but it's okay. It actually works.
I tried to transliterate the nigun that they used, so I did my best. So,
And if you don't know, just clap. How's that?
okay. Yismechu ve'malchus hashomrei Shabbos v'korei oneg. Yismechu ve'malchus hashomrei Shabbos v'korei oneg. Korei Yismechu ve'malchus nashomrei Shabbos v'koreyanek. Yismechu ve'malchus nashomrei Shabbos v'koreyanek. Korei, 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 oneg, korei, 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 oneg. Yadadai-dai-dai, yam-dai-dai-dai-dai, yadadai-dai-dai-dai, yam-dai-dai-dai-dai, yadadai-dai-dai-dai, yam-dai-dai-dai-dai, yadadai-dai-dai-dai, yam-dai-dai-dai-dai, yadadai-dai-dai-dai, yam-dai-dai-dai-dai, yadadai-dai-dai-dai, yam-dai-dai-dai-dai. Yay!
Great practice, everybody. We'll get better at it.
Well, we promised something completely different. Now, let's take us back 100 years. You would have never heard that on this Bema. But this was fun. It was. So anyway, we've crossed the Red Sea. We are full of joy. And now we enter the central portion of worship, the tefillah. Please rise, page 46.
I am aware that I talk fast, so I will try to go slow for it, okay? I'm aware. All right, for page 46. Adonai sifatai tifta ufi agita hiletecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagador, Hagibor, v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Hasdei Avot V'Imaot, Umevi Gula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shema Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav l'Hoshia, Marshiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somek noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha bagevurot, umidol melach, melech mimit umechayeh, umasmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh mishimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chum yom yehu lecha selah, Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated or standing as is your custom. Page 54. Ataki jashed yom hashvi l'shmecha tachlit ma'aseh shemayim ba'aretz uvarakto mikol hayamim v'kedashto mikol hamatzim al chen katuv b'toratecha. Top of page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth.
May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
We continue with the Retzeh on top of page 57. Retzeh, Retzeh, Retzeh Adonai Eloheinu bi'amcha Yisrael u'tefilatam bi'ahavat yikabel u'tehi leretzon tamid u'tehi leretzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha Baruch atah Adonai shotecha levadecha be'ira navod sheotecha levadecha be'ira navod. Page 58. Acknowledgement. Modim anachnu lach shato Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu le'olam va'ed sor chayinu magen yishenu atahu ledor vador. Together in the middle of page 58. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation.
Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one whose mercies never end, O compassionate one whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you.
And as you're coming down off the mountain, what do we pray for? On Shabbat, we're not supposed to ask for anything, which is why the Amida only has 7 parts on Shabbat. But we cheat. We ask for peace. Page 60, Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam.
V'tovenecha levarech et amcha Yisrael v'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim page 61. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev lo yimladu od milchama. Nation shall not take up sword against nation, they shall never again know war. Together. Don't stop after beating the swords into plowshares. Don't stop.
Go on beating and make musical instruments out of them. Whoever wants to make war again will have to turn them into plowshares first.
This part of the Amida, as we're getting to the closing portions, is something that I like to emphasize because you always think about how people have dissed you or done something nasty to you, either on purpose or maybe not so much on purpose. I want everybody to think about what maybe they have done this past week that wasn't so good, either on purpose or inadvertently. True confessions time. I said this last Saturday. Last week I had to really kind of move some mountains to get a patient taken care of. And I was using Microsoft Teams, that wonderful device, and sending a note to, a person of a certain name and saying, Michelle, we've got to get moving on this. His tumor has doubled in size in the past 3 weeks. Waiting for him to be seen by the surgical oncologist in early March is not good enough. Let's move it. Because the doc was on leave at the time, so I couldn't communicate with her directly. So I hear nothing. So I go marching over to general surgery, which is right adjacent to where I work, and talk to one of the staff. So later on in the afternoon, Michelle comes over to see me. Dr. Wittmar, I was working on this all afternoon. I said, well, why didn't you answer my text messages or my Teams messages? She said, because I never got any money. Well, look at this. And he said, that's not how I spell my first name. So, how many ways can you say eat crow in 16 different languages? The point is that both the surgical oncologist and the nurse coordinator, case manager, Michelle, got wonderful boxes of chocolates for Valentine's Day last week. So, point is, let's go through this together and think about what we did this past week. Middle of page 62. My God, guard my speech from evil and my lips from deception. Before those who slander me, I will hold my tongue, I will practice humility. Open my heart to your Torah, that I may pursue your mitzvot. As for all who think evil of me, cancel their designs and frustrate their schemes.
Act for your own sake, for the sake of your power, and for the sake of your holiness, for the sake of your Torah, so that your loved ones may be rescued, save with your power, and answer me.
Va'enini, answer me. Hu say shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, vimru, vimru, amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al Yisrael. Our service continues on page 253. Prayers for healing. There's lots of people in this world that need our thoughts, They may not have just had a bad day, but they might be going through a pretty bad patch in their lives themselves. Some of it physical, some of it mental. Or maybe some people that we know that are in that situation. Mishaberak avotenu v'imotenu Avraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, hu yavarek et hacholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah Bless and heal those who are ill. This week we have on the Mishaberach list Ben Sion Nahum, our cousin in Florida. We have Nan Briggs. We have Ross McCullough, Melanie Wood, Patty Basile, Jan Mandel, Stephanie Willis, Susan Shea, Barbara Shapira, Irv Willis, Sean Shea, Marcia Koblitz, Alicia Leopold, Mary Lynn Rinsberg, Eric Shabetta, Louis Tenenbaum, Kerman and Rinsberg family, Doug Botner, Carol Ford, Leda Lubin, Paula Perry, Ali Ford, Sandra Lynch, Nancy Thompson, Zachary Salmon, and Sharon John. For those of you that are in the virtual Kahila, please put the name in the chat box. And for those of you that are in the live Kahila tonight, if you have a name to add to the Mishaberach list, please say the name when my eyes meet yours. Mark and Barbara, Jürgen, and Heather. Thank you.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mikor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it. It's always nice to have additional voices on the Bema, especially when I'm recovering from something. So, helpful. Devar Torah. So what's the Parshat? It's Parshat Mishpatim. So Mishpatim translates it's what? Is what? What does it mean? Come on, somebody. Great. Commandments, laws, precepts, blah, 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 blah. Okay. You were about to say something. Go ahead. Okay. Mishpatim concerns the revelation at Sinai. God legislates a series of laws for people of Israel, the laws of the slave indentured servant, penalties for murder, kidnapping, assault, theft, and all of these other things. Civil laws pertaining to redress of damages and loans, responsibilities of the four guardians of the Israelite people, and rules governing the conduct of justice by law. Also included are laws about mistreatment of foreigners in their midst, the observance of seasonal festivals, agricultural gifts to be brought, prohibition against cooking milk with meat, yada, 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 yada. You kind of get it, okay? But there's something else in there too amongst the laws that's buried. And we will discuss that. What is Lex Talionis? No, he's not a archenemy of Superman, you know. No, it's not that. No, and it's not one of these zombie drinks that you can get at a bar in downtown Cleveland. Okay. Lex Talionis. So it means reciprocal or proportionate law or damages. So we're going to have a little thing here, again, something that 100 years ago you never would have seen on a Bema.
Picture of the galaxy?
A picture of the galaxy? Sure. Far away. What I like about this here is that it's really, really nice. The font is large enough that the Hebrew is relatively easy to read. Pretty nice. So what we're going to talk about is when lex talionis, because it's referred to, for reciprocal or proportionate damages, it's referred to 3 times in Tanakh, and this is the first time more towards the end of Exodus. V'ki netzu anashim v'naglu isha hara v'yetzeu yaladeha v'lo yihei asun anosh ve'anosh ka'asher yashit alav ba'al ha'isha v'natan befilim. If men strive together or fight and hurt a woman with child so that her fetus departs and yet no harm follows, he shall surely be fined according to the woman's husband shall lay upon him. Bink, and he shall pay as the judges determine. V'im asun yeh v'natata nefesh ata nefesh. But if any harm follow, then thou shalt give life for life. Ayin tachat ayin, shein tachat shein, yad tachat yad, ragel tachat ragel. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, hand for a hand, foot for foot. Kavia atak kavia, petza tachat petza, haburia tachat haburia. Burning for burning, word for wound, stripe for stripe. I should have turned on the vowels. Sorry, I didn't. But the whole idea here is that of proportionate damages. So is this something that's new in Tanakh for us, the Jewish people? In the Babylonian legal code of Hammurabi, the principle of exact reciprocity is more than clearly used. In societies that were not bound the rule of law, if a person was hurt, the injured person, or their relative more likely, would take a vengeful retribution on the person who caused the injury, and the retribution might be worse than the original crime, perhaps even death. Hammurabi's code, which predated Tanakh, placed a limit on such actions, restricting retribution. If a person caused the death of another person, the killer would be put to death without question, as long as the victim and offender occupied the same status in society. Gee whiz, nothing changes, does it? So in Judaism, pre-rabbinic Hebrews actually rejected part of this. The Torah allows for kofar, a monetary payment, to take place instead of bodily punishment for any crime except murder. It is not specified where the victim, accused, or the judge had the authority to choose kofar in place of bodily punishment. The biblical phrase ayin tachat ayin in Exodus and later in Leviticus a couple times literally means one eye under or in place of one eye. In Vayikra, where it's mentioned later, a slightly different phrase is used. Ayin, bayin, shin, bishel, meaning an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. So it's different grammatically. The only one eye for one eye was meant to restrict compensation for value of the loss. Okay, fast forward a few hundred years into the Talmudic period. And of course, in Talmudic period, the Sadducees, which were the rulers of the temple and all that stuff, but it's gone now. So in Talmudic period, we have just the Pharisees. The Pharisaic Talmudic rabbis interpret the phrases referring to an eye for an eye in similar expressions as mandating monetary compensation in tort litigation cases and argue against physical retaliation. They use an argument that such an interpretation is inapplicable to blind or eyeless offenders. Hey, that's interesting. So what they're using is a little twist on there to kind of make things a little bit less harsh. Since Torah requires penalties be universally acceptable and applicable, the phrase cannot be interpreted in this manner, so physical retaliation is not permitted. Well, that's a legal twist, isn't it? I never knew that until I started studying for this. So, equal before the law, kinda, sorta. In Exodus 21, which we just went through, as in the Code of Hammurabi, the concept of reciprocal justice applies to social equals. The statement of reciprocal justice, life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, etc., is followed by an example of a different law. This is in Tanakh. If a slave owner blinds the eye or knocks out the tooth of a slave, the slave is freed and the owner pays no other consequence. On the other hand, if the slave should injure the eye of a slave owner, The slave would probably be put to death for the injury of the eye of the slave owner. Fair? I don't think so. However, even in ancient times, our Jewish notion of reciprocal justice definitely applied somewhat across social boundaries, a lot more than contemporary societies were. The eye for an eye is followed by the proclamation in Tanakh, you are to have one law for alien and the citizen. So your own citizen as well as those who are among you. Does this sound familiar? It's a much more meaningful principle for social justice. Those marginalized in society were somewhat given the same rights under the social structure. In this aspect, Jewish law was utterly revolutionary and without precedent in its time. So as my father, Frank Vidmar, would say, so why should I care? He didn't do it in a cynical way. He wanted me to kind of make his thought concise. Okay, Dad, this is why you should care. Justice may be an abstraction, it may be imperfect, sometimes it can be frustrating, but that doesn't mean we should stop pursuing it. Our service continues with the Aleinu on page 282 in the middle of the page. Please rise.
Yeah. Mhm.
Aleinu l'shabeach Adon hakol,
לתת גדולה לרוצה בראשית, שלא עשנו כגי הרשות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצר הארץ, ומשה בקרו בשמיים עמו, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אבן מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבת אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת עיניו.
Page 285, top, together. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship,
forever united in your service. Then shall we, your realm,
and established on earth,
and the
word of your prophet
fulfill. Adonai will reign forever and ever. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please close the ark. Now Leshevet, please be seated. In my own family, we had a cluster of deaths occur many, many years ago. They were parents, but they were siblings and whatever in the month of January and February, so this is a particularly tough time for Amy and myself. This is not, my father-in-law's yard site is next week, though, but it's kind of tough. Page 291, middle of the page. Ish kokavim she'ora magia artsa taka asher hem atzman uvdo ve'enam. Together in English, there are stars.
There are stars above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we love. Their memories keep shining ever brightly through their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember.
We think of our loved ones whose yard sites we commemorate this week. Morris Fox, Gabriel Schaffner, Grace Yedayurek, George A. Small, Lillian Steinberg, Jenny Schaffner Phillips, Karen Levy, Mathilde Schaffner, Abraham Weisenkorn, Abraham Reese, Simon Glaser, Leighton Goldsmith, Julius Cinder, Mose Cohen, Anna Hirschfield Epstein, Meyer Sunstein, Lee Samuel Good, Sarah Nost Kember, Lillian Levick, Minna Mayer Levy, Irving Totman, Eve Lochner, Mitzi Kernis, Julius Harf, Albert Singer, Anna Poser, Samuel Krieger, Meyer Rothstein, Ida Prusson, Flora Bernstein Shapiro, Marianne Livy, and Anna Bosch. If there are any names to add to the art site list for those who are on Zoom and YouTube with us tonight, please put it in the chat box and send it to us. For those who are here in the Kahila tonight, if there's any name to add to the art site list, please say the name as my eyes meet yours.
Emily Tretchell.
Please rise for the Kaddish on page 294.
Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divra chirote v'yamlich malchute, b'chayachon uvyomechon, uvchayetecho beit Yisrael, b'gala uvizman kariv v'maru amen. Yahei shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam alamei almai. V'yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitala shmei kudusha parihu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran be'almad v'meru amen. Yahei shlama Rabba min shamaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'meru amen. Oseh shalom biromav. Huya aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'meru amen.
Zikranam livracha. May their memories be for a blessing. Please be seated. And Julie, you're doing announcements?
So I must not have done a good enough job last week. They want me to practice again, so I'm back again this week. And this week I'm going to remember. The services this week are in memory of Marion Levy, so you can improve. Also, you can see at the bottom of the left-hand page that very sad news, Rabbi Brad Bliefeld, the former rabbi here and the husband of Mary Bliefeld, passed away yesterday. The funeral services for him will be on Sunday at 12:30. It's unclear yet as if it will be live streamed or not. So if you Google Rabbi Bliefeld obituary, you will get to the funeral home. I believe they offer live streaming, but as of this evening, there was nothing there that, yeah. So if it's going to be there, it will, that's where you can find it. We also have the opportunity here in Erie to do one of the nicest type of mitzvahs that you can do, and that is a mitzvah that cannot be repaid. We got an email about Dr. Helen Cohn, who was 82 in Erie, and she passed away at Nightingale Nursing Home. She's a member of the Jewish faith, but she doesn't have any family or friends in Erie, and so Rabbi Moray is doing her funeral, a graveside service at Anshe Hesed Cemetery. And so if you can come to help make a minyan to... It is at 11:30 on Wednesday, February 26th. That was in one of the emails that Bright sent out. So you can, if you go back and look through your email, you can find that information. Or you could call Bright on Monday and she can tell you. Few other announcements. They are in your handout. They are also in the weekly emails. There's a Templehood planning meeting on Thursday, February 27th at 7. There is a pulpit exchange on Friday the 28th, although the other half of the exchange will be on Sunday, March 9th at their church. The adult quorum dinner is at Habibi's, and it's not that big, so if you want to go, please RSVP. Camp Gesher, if you want to get ahead of the crowd, Camp Gesher early registration is on. And the ongoing Tzedakah campaign, please try to remember when you do your weekly grocery shopping to buy a couple of extra cans or an extra box of cereal and bring it in on Friday night. And thank you to Dennis and Allie and Lyrica. I'm sorry, it's like, thank you very much. It was a beautiful service. Shabbat Shalom.
Yes, Bobby?
For those of you who were not here during Rabbi Gleekel's time, he was the rabbi of this congregation from about 1980 to 1987. His children grew up here, and many of our children were blessed to have him as a teacher. He was very creative, very special, had planes flying into the pulpit to make a point. I can't remember exactly, but I do remember sitting on the pulpit and watching a paper plane come down. He started a lot of interfaith programs and was very much loved by the community, not only the Jewish community, but the community of Erie. So if you haven't had a chance, there is a write-up in the book, the 150th year, and I'm sure there will be more, but he was a very important part of our congregation.
I was very fortunate to have been touched by him. In my second year of Hadrakah, he was one of my faculty. A very special guy. And how to remember Lyrica's name? Now, it's the trade name for something called pregabalin. It's a very, very... No, well, no, but this is good. This is good.
Okay.
It's because we use it to take away pain.
That's what she was doing.
Okay.
Which is what music does, which is what I'm actually named after. My parents aren't that cruel.
So anyway, guilty as charged. I did that very much on purpose with malice aforethought. Okay, we'll finish up. Our closing song tonight will be Adon Olam, which is on page...
321 in the black numbers.
Thank you so much. Adon Olam Asher
Malav,
B'terem kol Yitzir Nivra Lignasa b'chefso kol Azai melech shemo nigra V'hacharei kiplot hakol Livado yimlok nora V'hu haya v'hu hoved V'hu yiyeh b'tifara V'hu echad v'yein sheni V'hamshilo Veli Reshit, Veli Taklit, Velo Haoz, Vehamisra, Vehu Eli, Vehaigo Eli, Itzur Hevli, Ve'etzara, Vehu Nisi, Umanosli, Menakosi, Ve'yom Ekra, Ve'yavo, Akidruki, Ve'etin Pam, Ve'aira, Ve'imruki, Gaviati, Adonali, Ve'loira. Page 2.
Right here. Page 4 and 5. Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratah banu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava u'ratzon himchelanu. Zikaron l'maaseh bereishit, ki hu yom tehillah l'mikrayei kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Imanu b'charta, v'otanu kiddashta, mikol ha'amim. V'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'bratzon pinhatanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. She's shy. No, I'm talking about the challah. That's why we cover it. That's a thing. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Thank you, everybody. Shabbat shalom.
You guys can leave. I want.